Alright, I want to do another quick video, this time on brakes. I know I was discussing it on Instagram a bit. I figured I'd do a little detailed GoPro YouTube video so I can kind of have it in the records. So here, obviously 3 rotors, 3 different calipers. This is your 13-inch PBR Cobra Corvette GTO brake rotor. PBR made the Cobra, Corvette, and GTO calipers. PBR is a popular company that a lot of U.S. manufacturers used to make their brake calipers. So, really popular upgrade for the Fox is the 0304 Cobra brakes. Obviously, you got to convert 5-lug. I converted 5-lug rear disc back in 2010. I'm currently running the 96 to 04 spindles, which allows me to bolt up the 0304 Cobra brakes. Fairly simple. Now, for most street cars, your 0304 Cobra brake is plenty up front. It's a really stellar package. I ran it for years, absolutely loved it. Once I started getting more serious with the track stuff, I went from a basic, Napa Auto Parts street pad to a Hawk HP Plus. Really like the brake performance. Again, most Foxes, that's going to be plenty. One of the things I didn't like about the Cobra caliper, which I mentioned before, is the surface area of the rotor it actually uses. You can see here how much of the rotor is actually not even being used, which is why I wanted to go to a C5 Corvette Z06 caliper. This caliper is larger, it's got the heat vanes, and it bites more surface area of the rotor. Another cheap upgrade going from your Cobra to your Corvette. Now, again, in the description, I will post part numbers and what to do and how-tos. This is a Z51 bracket. So I ordered these Z51 brackets off of eBay. They were $110. Then I went to Fastenal, got these great 10 bolts. One of the things you have to do to your spindle is you have to drill out the spindle, because the GM calipers, the GM bolts, are just slightly larger than the bolts that Ford used. So in order to go through the caliper into the bracket, you do have to enlarge in those bolts. My buddy Jesse helps me with that. He has a drill press. It's fairly easy. Canada WD-40 drill press. I forgot the actual size of the drill bit we used. I can probably pull that up again. I'll put that in the description here as well. Moving on, this is a 14-inch rotor. This is an S197 Mustang brake package. Both calipers are 2-piston rotors, or 2-piston calipers, I should say. This is off the 2005 to 2010 Mustang, and this aluminum bracket is a piece that Fully Torqued Racing makes, so you can bolt this on to your SN95 spindle. My plan was to run this. My buddy on Instagram, I will tag him as well. You can see he did a little bit of shaving here because it does touch the rim. Where it actually touches my rim is wheel is right in here. So I was going to take a belt sander, just take a little material off, not much. That was my plan. He sent me these. Again, 14-inch rotor. See a little upgrade from the 13-inch. Moving on to this. This is also a 14-inch rotor. However, this is off an S550 Mustang. So that's a 2015 and up, your current generation Mustang. Now, the biggest benefit, you can clearly see the size of this caliper. This is a 4-piston caliper. Obviously, there's a ton of braking performance improvements there. You are pressing against the rotor from both sides instead of just one. Obviously, there's a weight penalty This is much heavier than a basic 2-piston caliper, but we know in the track world, the braking performance supersedes the weight penalty. Fully Torqued Racing also makes a bracket kit for this, so you can bolt on your S550 brakes and the Brembo brake package off the Boss 302 that they did, I want to say 2011 to 2013, and the same Brembo package off the GT500. I think it was that first gen GT500. What was it, 07 to 2010 or 09 to 2010 or something? They used the same Brembo 4-piston calipers, so that is another option for these cars. Before I move on to the Cadillac ATS package, because that's super popular as well, which I'll end up having here. I probably will end up going that route depending on hardware. I've yet to receive the big brake hardware kit from Fully Torqued Racing. I'm hoping it's just due to COVID, because I paid and ordered June 10th, and here we are the end of August. I've yet to get anything, but that's another story. Now, one of the things that was pointed out to me about this rotor, let me backtrack. First off, you can clearly see the width difference in these two rotors. This here, your S197, pretty flat. Front hub or hat, you can see here that this is just so much thicker. Now, the thing that was pointed out to me on one of my guys on Instagram, these rotors cool from the inside out, right? So I run an Agent 47 front brake duct cooling setup, which blows air from the front fog light openings through a duct toward the center part of the rotor. It bolts up to my spindle here. So obviously that incoming air goes through here, out your cooling vanes, and out through here, which obviously improves cooling on your brake rotor surface. Something that was pointed out about these rotors now is they are cooled from the outside in. So my brake ducts, yeah, you know, it'll probably take some temp off the rotor surface here and help minimally. You can see that these are designed where the airflow goes out to in, and that's how these are set up. So what I'm planning on doing, I'd like to be able to use this rotor with this brake caliper. So once I get the hardware in, that's going to be the experiment. This right here would add some interesting offset stuff. Now, the Fully Torqued Racing big brake kit for this caliper, you have to run ARP extended studs, which I've already had on the car, because they include a 3/4 of an inch spacer on the inside of the hub that pushes the rotor wider so you can run this caliper. So I'm curious on that, because I already run 1/2 inch Maximum Motorsports spacers. So I'm really curious on the offset and obviously clearance with the fender flares. Another thing I'm going to have to do to run these calipers is you're going to have to mill down a little bit of material right here in order to bolt this up. So a little bit more work, but you know, on a 14-inch rotor, I think the braking performance, especially that I converted to manual brakes, I think the braking performance is going to be incredible. I got to keep this short. 12 minutes is my limit here on videos, so I'll want to wrap this up with the Cadillac ATS brakes. That's probably your best bang for your buck cost-wise. It's a Brembo 4-piston caliper that fits on the 13-inch rotor. So people like me who've already, upgrade it to the Cobra and or GM stuff, we can reutilize the rotor. You have to do some slight drilling on the spindle, I believe, and there's a guy that makes some kind of bracket kit. I think it's like $200 to offset that caliper onto this rotor. So I want to see when this hardware kit finally comes in. I really want to run the 14-inch rotor with the brand new S550 caliper. But if it's going to turn into a nightmare, which you know how race car stuff gets, it snowballs, I will probably end up selling all this and just going to the Cadillac ATS stuff. Or that GT500 Boss 302 Brembo. So we shall see. As always, I want to thank my sponsors, LI Wrap, Maximum Motorsports, Cosmos, Racing Wheels, and Power by the Hour. But stay tuned, we're going to do some more of these.